Hey guys, so this is a Unit 2 review, just Unit 2. And on the left side of the screen, you have the 4 different sections for Unit 2. So I'm just going to fly through these so that you guys can maybe get some advice on what things to look out for. Um, so features of worldwide destinations. The video before that was the travel and tourism industry. So now we're talking about features. So if you remember features, those are like the specific things or specific attraction points for tourists, kind of wanting to describe what makes certain destinations or qualities of destinations more attractive for people. So they're trying to divide and also identify what are some of the basic things you need to know when it comes to what attracts tourists to pay for holidays and travel. So first section is 2.1, demonstrate knowledge of the main global features. This one is on pages 51 through 55. I have all the page numbers in the reply of the previous video. So if you go into Teams and then check the page numbers, you can write that on your syllabus so that you can follow along and study better for your exam. So even before I start with 2.1, uh, if you go to page 50, there is one thing that the syllabus doesn't cover, which I think might be important for you to know at least. Um, it's called the product life cycle. So this might be familiar as a business term. So anytime businesses talk about what is the life of a product, this is the cycle that they put it in. So they have about 6 or 7 stages. There's a graph that you might have seen before, but it's not here. The first stage is exploration, second is involvement, and so forth, as you can see in pages 50 and 51. So this product life cycle stages kind of explains about tourist destinations. So destinations are not always popular from the very beginning, whatever that beginning was. Destinations become popular over time. So when a new destination that really doesn't have that many tourists, but has the potential to be a tourist or tourism destination, it would be in the exploration stage, and that's identified by very small number of tourists. As for example, in 1972 in the Maldives, very few, if any, tourist facilities. Okay, so they give you each of these stages. They give you characteristics of what each of these stages are for the destination's life cycle. So it just means that the next stage would be a lot more tourists are more aware of this destination. It's becoming a little bit more popular, more facilities, more infrastructure is being made, and different levels of what that looks like and how it's identified in each of these stages. So it's kind of good for you to at least keep these stages in mind. There is a small possibility that they would bring up the product life cycle when talking about a certain destination. They might give you information on a destination and then ask you what stage of the product life cycle would you grade this destination. Okay, and usually if you're around the similar ballpark of where that what stage it might be in, you're usually correct. The power in your answer is in your explanation. Okay, so back to the syllabus 2.1. Demonstrate knowledge of the main global features. So that starts on page 51 through 55. Okay, letter A, location of major continental landmasses, oceans, and seas. They might give you a map. There'll be an insert, and then they might give you a map and then put labels on it and be like, what continent is this? What country is this? What city is this? What ocean is this? I haven't seen that in a long time, actually, so I kind of doubt that you'll get that question, but you might want to just do a quick review of page 52, okay? And the information before that, I don't think you really have to worry about. 2.1b, location of the world's major cities in relation to their importance as major transport hubs. This one, I don't think you really need to know that well either, but they do have these charts here talking about the top 10 airports of international tourism arrivals and the top 10 cities for international visitors. So Maybe this would be good to know because this is where a lot of the air traffic happens, where airplanes and where airplanes are flying through for the most part of the world. So just to keep that in mind, you'll get charts in your insert, so you won't really have to identify much, but just have this in mind because they do kind of want you to know major cities of the world and major transport hubs, just as like background knowledge. Okay. 2.2, demonstrate awareness of different time zones and climates. This one I didn't stress in class so much because I think it was going to be a waste of time. You know a lot of these things from, what's that class called? Global perspectives, right? So this is where global perspectives will help some of the basic knowledge that you've learned from there. I'm not really going to go over it, but you can review. 2.2 is pages 56 through 63. So let me go there as well. You should know global position. What is latitude? What is longitude? What are the time zones? I think you got in a practice paper like London being the GMT, the Greenwich Mean Time, which is like the 0 time. And then the question was, is this city, in terms of time zones, is this city before or after that? Okay, so for us, we are after the GMT. And then for any city on the west of London would be before, okay, in terms of time, all right? Let's see influence of climate of tourism. So you want to know basically the climates. Climates change according to latitude, all right? And we have a picture of that in the textbook. Not really, but in the slides, I do remember that I did. So you can go to the slides and kind of review. But here on page 58, you have the different names of latitudes. So the more center you are, the hotter it is, and the more north or south you are, the colder. So you wanna just know what these latitudes are. There might be a question on what is the weather or what is the characteristic, the climatic characteristic of this latitude. So you want to talk about the weather, what it's like, what is the experience of a destination in that part of the world. Okay, just do a quick review on that. Climate has a lot to do with tourism because it really depends on what the weather is like for people to travel somewhere. So people in colder countries tend to travel to warmer countries or warmer destinations and vice versa. So just, I think that's just pretty much all you have to keep in mind. There might be a question of, what is it? Not global warming, what do they call it? Climate change. Now it's more like, what are the effects of global warming on destinations? So if you probably covered this in global perspectives, but you have the rising of sea levels. This is prolonged change of temperature. It's not just a seasonal temperature change. This is just an increment of temperature changes. You have possibly more humid and more hot weather during the summertime, and the winter seasons are shorter. There might be more disease because the summertime is hotter, and there's possibly more mosquito bites or things like that happen because of these longer summer seasons. So just keep in mind that temperature and weather has a big effect on how people travel, right? And then the correct information on climactic areas defined using reference sources. Okay, so you really don't have to get into that. The next section is section 2.3, investigate travel and tourism destinations. That one is pages 63 through 70. So this section is, I would say, pretty important because they bring you some of these words that are, these vocabulary words that are quite important. The first word being perishable. What does perishable mean when it comes to a destination? It means that it doesn't stay forever. If you just left the destination to itself, untouched, then yeah, it'll go for a long time. But the reason why it's called a destination in the first place is because people like to go there. So there's going to be a lot of traffic, of people, of transportation, and because of that, people stepping on things, trucks and cars and buses driving through things. You have erosion of land that's going to happen over time, that makes a destination perishable. It means that it's starting to fade away and it needs to be taken care of so that it continues to look good and continues to be a place where tourists like to go. So I think we did a worksheet in class that covers these bullet points, which are just preventative measures of how to keep a destination from perishing too fast, trying to maintain it so that it continues to stay attractive for people to come and see. Let's see if there's anything I want you guys to go through. Destination outlook scale, I highly doubt that's going to be something that you guys will be tested on, but if so, we did cover this. This is how they grade destinations, on how sustainable that destination will be. And they rate it from 1 to 10. 1 being catastrophic, it's in very big danger of it, perishing very quickly, and then a destination at a rating of 10 means enhanced. Everything and all these preventative measures are in place, so it's ready for tourism in a big way. So that's called the destination outlook scale. The way that they grade destinations, it's useful because people who act, governments who are thinking about the future of travel and tourism in their country will want to know this so that they know what they have to do to make sure that their country is an open place for people to come and for it to be maintained well, or to see what maintenance things that they need to put in place. Let's see. These bullet points seem important. Specialized reasons for international travel. These are more niche, but still there are many reasons why people travel other than the destination itself, for its natural beauty or its built attractions. We have pilgrimages. People travel for religious reasons, sporting trips like the Olympics or sporting events like the World Cup. Educational trips just to go and study different culture and different heritage and different educational organizations, trying to go and do trips to learn. Medical treatment visits, really, these things really don't have much to do with the way that destinations maintain themselves, but just good for you to know. Multiple use, I'm interested in why they wrote this. I think in the past I've seen a couple questions about multiple use. Multiple use is just another word for how a destination or just a small area of a destination is being used not only for tourism but for public space and public use. Okay, I think in the very beginning, we remember there was an activity about a horse race track, which is used for horse racing, but horse racing isn't all throughout the year. So there are times when a big track and stadium like that is just empty, it's not being used. So they would convert it or try to enhance it so that they can use it for concerts, so they can use it for exhibitions or venue, a really big venue for people to come and use and then be able to have a multiple use for that facility. So it's very much similar. That example was more facility multiple use. Destinations also want multiple use as well because they don't want to just focus on building infrastructure and a lot of facilities just for seasonal purposes. So the government really has to decide and make sure that everything that they invest their money in really is thinking about the local population as well, because it's kind of a tragic thing for the local people to see that the government is willing to spend so that foreigners can come, but there really isn't much use for the local people when it comes to these things. So there have to be smart developments when it comes to that. So that's multiple use. Cultural appraisal, and one of the 2022 questions, this one was a solid letter E question. You want to know what cultural appraisal is. Basically, it is all of the influence and all of the opinion and all of the reasons why people decide to go or not go to a destination or go on vacation. So I did the worksheet on this so you guys can kind of review this section, or this whole page actually. just to brush up on what cultural appraisal is, because people just don't make quick decisions. When they spend that much money on going on vacation, it's a multitude of information that has been researched, that has been thought of, word of mouth, all of these positive influences and negative influences measured out and balanced in one person's mind to be like, okay, we're going to go or we're not going to go. All right. And that's what really cultural appraisal is. All of the things that pretty much puts into action the decision that they make to go on a trip. So try to remember that. And let's see, B, tourist destination as amalgams. Basically, destinations are not just one thing. We talked about the different components of travel and tourism, and it's all of that. It's infrastructure, it's accommodation, it's attractions. All of that need to be there for all of this to be possible. People just don't go there to sleep. People just don't go there to have fun. They need the whole experience because most of the time, especially international tourists, they'll be there for many days. Domestic, maybe not so much on accommodation, but VFR, maybe, maybe not. Those are in the middle. But for sure, travel and tourism industry has to, or the tourism department of certain destinations has to consider, are there a variety of accommodations? Are there a variety of attractions? Are there options? Are there tour operators to make packages to invite and attract people of different varieties, different customer types? Okay, so that's what amalgam is. It's just putting everything together, saying that all the different components combined are a value for tourism. Next is letter C, implications of viewing destinations as amalgams. Yeah, that's pretty much what I said. And the idea of sustainability. For this, I think sustainability gets highlighted a little bit later, which will be in another video. But just go through these pages and these letters and bullet points. Last is 2.4. I believe this one was pretty massive. Pages 71 through 94. Right. So I'm not going to go through this, but just to highlight some of the important things. Here are the features, by the way, page 70. It's nice to kind of go over these bullet points to show what are the smaller things all put together that attract tourists to destinations. Let's see, 71 more features. Now you have like the different types of tourisms. So they had business, they had mountain, they had coastal. Oh, here. And remember, these are like not all, but the different types of tourists: backpackers, dinky, empty nesters, gray market, youth market. It's important to know that customers do not just come in one type, it comes in many types. And I think you remember from one of my quizzes or tests about that, so keep that in mind. Different types of tourism: cultural tourism. What else do we have here? Business tourism, coastal tourism, mountain tourism, right? All the way to the end, you have all these different types of tourisms. These are all different physical features. These are all different reasons. And all of these different destinations have different climates. So just kind of go through and try to remember, recall what these case studies we're talking about, because each of these case studies are unique because each case study is a different location geographically, and they all have different attractive features. All right, so it's kind of good to know, especially if a question asks for a certain type of tourism, and then asking you what are the features that are attracting tourists to this kind of tourism, right? Also, the last one, 22.4C, influence of physical features on the opportunities and constraints. All right, remember, opportunities are the things that make a destination. They highlight all the things that a destination has to build tourism development there. So if it has natural beauty, then definitely there's opportunity for tourism because there are things to see in the environment and nature of what they have. Built attractions as well. Do they have built attractions there? Then obviously that's also something that tourists would like to come and see, and it can be further developed. Is there potential for that? Those are opportunities. Constraints are the things that kind of limit tourism development. Okay, so you have to kind of do some critical thinking for constraints. The fact that there is natural beauty, which is a good thing for people to come and see, means that you can't destroy or develop on that natural beauty. It kind of is like a view obstruction if you build too much in those natural areas. So that is like a kind of constraint. So using that kind of example, you can also probably develop some of your own ideas of what constraints or what limits tourism development in certain different types of areas or destinations. Okay, so that is all a quick summary of Unit 2. So I'll go ahead and post a video of Unit 3 for the next one. All right, so let me know if you have any questions. See you later.